So let me ask you this. What's going to happen to the organizations that don't acquire tech, whether they build it organically inside their organization, which is really, I think, uh, has more risk because they're not necessarily the ones who can incubate those ideas.
Yeah.
But what happens to the organizations that don't adopt disruptive technology and integrate them, whether into their supply chain, their product suite, how they operate their business? What's going to happen to those companies?
Well, you can kind of predict what I'm going to say. A lot of them will go extinct. I mean, they're not going to make it. They won't be competitive, and that's just the way it is. I mean, I see it as clear as day. It's the law of gravity, and it isn't just using technology. It's not just licensing it, because everybody's doing that. And so, whether it's an IBM, Accenture, a Big Four, or a Microsoft or a Google that you, the large corporate, are partnering with and signing deals with, guess what? Your competitors are doing exactly the same thing. It doesn't really give you much of an edge. It's something that you should be doing anyway, as you have been doing as a company for the last 100 years. Companies are meant to constantly optimize and become more efficient. You want to grow while you become more efficient, increasing your operating margins and increasing your return on equity, so you can hire more people and grow and deliver to your stakeholders. That is just what you have to do. So if everybody else is doing it, how does that give you an edge? And the real challenge is the ultimate edge is going to be coming increasingly from the consumers or the customers who have increasing buying power, because they have this device at their hand, or they're going to have the ability to use robotics or AI or machine learning, 3D printing, CRISPR technology. I mean, I could go on and on. It's confluence of technologies that is causing some call it the fourth industrial revolution. We haven't even talked about food, which is, I mean, it's super exciting what's going to be happening in just the next 2 or 3 years, let alone 10 years. As I say, what I see in food over the next 5, 10 years is like the horse and cart going to the automobile, but maybe even more powerful than that. And so, for example, every company that's involved in the food industry, the agricultural industry involved, means if you sell seed, fertilizer, you sell water, power, energy, you sell food, you sell equipment, you own farms, you're a farmer, you could be anywhere in the ecosystem. You're gonna have a complete and utter revolution. Now, you could say that we've already talked about the automotive industry, we've talked about the retail industry. It's going to happen in banking. It is right now. Fintech is one of the hottest tech sectors there is. It's going to happen. It is happening in insurance, a little bit more slowly, but insurtech. Every single industry ultimately is going to go through effectively a major revolution. If you do not adapt, if you don't invest, then you're just not going to make it. Now, what we'd like to say is, if you're investing in-house only and you're recruiting people and you're building in-house teams, and it starts with whatever, chief innovation officer, chief digital officer, and then a whole team. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it's completely decentralized and fragmented, and business units and business unit leaders have to become their own chief transformation officer. There's all kinds of interesting forms of this that we're seeing, and that's great. We love to see that, and it's critically important. All the successful companies, the examples I've given, others like Walmart and Home Depot and JP Morgan, the list goes on of companies that are doing this. We call it, techquisition, acquiring, investing in tech companies while they're also doing it in-house. You've got to be able to do some of this really well in-house. But ultimately, you really need to start to invest in the company strategically and own them, because it's not just the intellectual property, the software, the platform, it's the people. At the end of the day, actually, it's all about the people. So last year, McDonald's acquired a company called Dynamic Yield for about $300 million, I think, at about a 17, 18 times revenue multiple. So again, a normal investor, an institutional investor in McDonald's would say, whoa, that's a crazy price. But it's not crazy at all in the context of how McDonald's can leverage not just the platform, the software, and actually some of the customers of Dynamic Yield, but the people. And Daniel Henry, who's the global chief information officer of McDonald's, said, look, this deal is as much about the people, the data scientists, and so on that come with it as anything else, because they're going to help us, McDonald's, move faster. These new people with new ideas who are fresh, who are entrepreneurial, and who are moving fast and nimble, they want to move fast and break things. They want to change the world. They're going to help us, McDonald's, change the world, if anything, just because of their ideas. And this is the beauty in these deals. It's not a marriage of integrating two different companies that have different cultures. It's a cross-fertilization of ideas based on the singular, exciting mission of we are going to change the world. And in many of these cases, some of the best tech companies have been working day in and day out, 24/7 for years trying to do that. And they've raised tens, if not hundreds of millions, some cases billions of dollars to do that. And they are starting to do it. But they will often reach a point where they think, you know what, if we're really, really going to change the world faster and better, we should partner. We should partner selling a major stake, sometimes a majority stake, to a corporate who has the customers, has the channel, has the brand, has the balance sheet, the commercial know-how, and who care about this and who want us. Together, we can then make magic happen. And that's actually what is happening. That is what's happening.